Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another classic film review. And today's classic film review is 1973's The Exorcist, a film that is written by William Peter Blatty, directed by William Friedkin, and it stars Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, Linda Blair, Lee J. Cobb and Jack McGovern, as well as Jason Miller as Father Karras. Now, arguably the most legendary horror film of all time. I don't really need to talk an awful lot about the plot here, do I? But I'll give you a little bit of a brief one in case you've never seen this film. This focuses on a 12-year-old girl, Reagan McNeil, who is experimenting with a Ouija board, makes contact with someone called Captain Howdy, who actually turns out to be a malevolent demonic spirit that claims to be the devil himself. Slowly takes over this little girl, and the mother, out of desperation, turns to the church for help, witch doctors as she calls them, in the hope that they can do an exorcism and save the soul of her daughter. Right. Wow, where do you start with this film? There are certain films that when you do a classic film review, you know, it's up for debate. Some people might look at it and think, well, I don't think that's a classic. There's no argument here with The Exorcist. It is an absolute classic. Now, this is an intimidating film. It was for me for many years. I didn't see this film probably until well into my 20s, maybe even a little bit later. No, I think it was my 20s. It wasn't readily available in the UK at that time, and I seem to remember it was re-released in the cinema, and then it was getting an all singing, all dancing release on DVD and stuff like that. And the reason why this film was intimidating to me was my mum, who went to see this at the cinema when it was released, sworn ever since that she will never ever watch this film again. It scared her half to death. And in the 70s, it was in the UK, it was well known in the 70s to have power cuts. And would you believe it, when she got home from the cinema after seeing this, I was born in 1972, so I was only a very young baby. She says there was a power cut when she got home, and her husband, my dad, who sadly passed away now, wasn't at home. He was away, and she was left at home with a power cut after watching The Exorcist. So, you know, it wasn't a good experience for her. So there's always been an intimidation factor about this film, this huge reputation. And the first time I watched the film, it blew my mind even then in my 20s. And I didn't see it at the cinema, I wasn't brave enough. I got it on DVD and watched it, and I've seen it countless times since then. And I think what stands out to me so clearly even now, because I've just recently watched this for Halloween, we watched it Halloween night, how fantastically fresh it still feels, this film. Incredible for a film of 1973, and how impressive the whole thing is. I see different things every time I watch this film now. And this time I was looking at it from an even slightly more different angle, as like a film reviewer maybe, and it just blew me away. No faults in this film at all, none as far as I'm concerned. The subtleness of the score, the music score, obviously the tubular bells just striking, but the fact that it's so quiet at times as well, this film. The quiet before the storm, it was commented on when we were watching it. You know, there's not much of a music score here, and I sort of said, well, some films don't need it. You know, some films like this, you know, you don't need it in these scenes. It's done on purpose for the quietness, and so cleverly done, the effects here. Incredible stuff. Now, I also enjoy watching this film. After I've watched it, I generally watch the documentaries that come with it, because there's some brilliant documentaries out there associated with this film, and you get all sorts of brilliant information and how difficult it was to film this thing. They had to create all the effects, obviously on the set, because they didn't have CGI in them days. Everything you see is practical. Some of the stuff they created to make this film was just groundbreaking stuff. The stories that the cast and crew tell, the fact that there was 9 deaths associated with this film, the set burnt down, all these things associated with it, how much of a perfectionist William Friedkin was, the fact that some of the things that he got up to on set, like firing guns to get reactions off the actors, all that kind of stuff. There was actually priests cast in this film. Two of the priests you see in the film were actual priests, obviously not Jason Miller, who plays Father Karras. And the guy that gives last rites to Father Karras at the end was a real life priest. And he couldn't get the scene right, and it took about 15 takes, and the director was getting really frustrated, as was the actor, because he wasn't, as was the priest, because he wasn't an actor. So he says, should we do one more take? Let's see if we can get this sort of thing. He's like, yeah. And to get him in the emotional state he needed him, he slapped him really hard across the face. This was a priest he slapped, the director. But it worked, because the scene you see at the end when his hand's shaking giving last rites, that was directly after he got slapped by the director. So he was prepared to do anything to get performances out of not only the actors but the non-actors as well, and it really, really shows. The church got involved here with the writer, William Peter Blatty. They helped him research the book for a year before he even started writing the book, and some of those priests who helped research a part of this film, the church were behind it, because it was very, very clearly, you know, a very strong Christian message, if you like, in the film as well. There's so much I could go on, so much about this film, all the wonderful tidbits that you get. My advice would be, if you do have this film and you don't generally watch extras, you really must watch the documentaries that come with this. They really are very, very good. You see all the process of how they do all the effects and everything, really. Everything associated with this film is just a masterpiece. I don't say that often, and I don't often give out 10 out of 10s. I do give them, I think, when they're deserved, and very clearly I think this is deserved. This is up for a discussion with anybody who's a film fan or a horror fan, that this is the perfect horror film and arguably the greatest horror film ever put to screen. It's still effective today, it's still scary today, it's still shocking today, and it's still downright brilliant, bloody brilliant. So yes, that's my classic film review for The Exorcist. I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I will be back with more reviews and content on Screenstars very, very soon.